Basically, my whole thing about getting an electric chainsaw is it good as a gas one? Hello everyone, this is Wade, and today I'm going to tell you a little bit about this new purchase that we've made, the Ryobi 14-inch cordless chainsaw in 40-volt lithium with a brushless motor. We've taken the saw out of the box. We've with the battery here, we've got the charger here, and I'm just going to give you a quick walkthrough. Now, this video is not for someone who's brand new at using a chainsaw. This video is for people who have used a chainsaw before and know how to do it safely. And if you don't know how to use a chainsaw safely, then I highly advise that you get some instruction from another person who's very capable at handling a chainsaw. So I'm just going to give you a quick review and a walkthrough of this saw and how it's working for us. Now, with regard to the Ryobi 40-volt system, I have used multiple Ryobi products, including a brushless mower, a lawnmower that worked very well, and I currently, you can just keep shooting that part, I'm already. I also have this weed eater, which you can see, or grass cutter, or whatever you want to call it. We grew up calling them weed eaters because that was the kind that there was when I was growing up. This is obviously a Ryobi though, and it uses the same exact battery. Just a few minutes ago, we unboxed this product, and Amari and I have added some chain and bar oil to it. Any good quality chain and bar oil should be fine. Again, this is for people who have used a chainsaw before, so you know how to pick that out. Basically, my whole thing about getting an electric chainsaw is it good as a gas one? Will it solve my needs? Will it solve my problems and suit my purposes as a homeowner where I live? And so what we're going to do is we're going to actually take some video clips of us using the saw. But before we do, I also want you to know that I went ahead and plugged in the charger. Amari, you can come in a little closer. The charger on this thing is really pretty handy. It plugs in. It's got quite a lengthy cord to it. I haven't measured the cord, but I will try to do that and put it in. It plugs into the battery like so, and then of course you plug the charger into the wall. So it's a pretty hefty battery, and it has worked really well in my weed eater, and we're going to give it a go now in the saw. Again, now what this comes with in the box is of course the charger and the battery and the saw, as well as the instruction manual, of course. And we're going to place the battery in the saw now. It just goes in there like this, and it's ready to go. With regard to the way the saw feels, go ahead and come with me now, Maury. With regard to the way the saw feels, it's well balanced on the center handle. You know, we'll look up the weights for the specs for that, so you can see how much it weighs with the battery in it and stuff. It is pretty easy to handle. This feels awfully long from the part that from the bar stops to the part that the handle is. Feels kind of long in the hands, but it's very comfortable. I've already used it just a little bit earlier today. We're going to go out and use it some more now and give you an idea of kind of how the saw cuts. So with regard to operation, again, we have put some bar oil in. One thing that I find to be handy is it's got a nice see-through gauge, so you can see exactly how much bar oil you've got left, which on an electric saw will be really important. On any chainsaw, of course, it'll be important, but on an electric saw in particular. The way that this operates, and we'll see this more in a few moments, is of course you pull this safety back, and then you can squeeze the trigger. Now you will notice that I'm not wearing gloves for this operation. We're cutting a few small pieces of wood. I don't figure that I'll have to handle anything, and of course I'm not concerned about getting my hands near the chain or the bar. I'm also not wearing hearing protection because this is not as loud as a gasoline-powered chainsaw. If I was using a gasoline-powered chainsaw, I would definitely be wearing hearing protection. So, also my glasses are shatter-resistant. That's kind of important to me when I'm doing some things, not necessarily chainsaw work. Again, this is not a safety video. This is a basic review of this product and how it works. So if you're not familiar with chainsaw use, please do not go out and use this video as an instructional method because it's not what it's designed to be. It's designed to be a review of this product. Let's keep the camera going. One other element of the saw is, of course, it does come with a cover for the bar. It is held on by friction. It fits nice and tight. It has a little shake to it. Obviously nothing's holding it on, but I find that the friction hold works just fine. It's not coming off. There's a good, nice place to grip for it to pull it on and push it off, which is frankly a thoughtful design feature for whoever the engineer was of this cover. Thank you. Thank you for putting those bumps right there to make it easier to pull it off and easier to put it on. One other thing that we want to consider is the wrench. Now the wrench, of course, is there to be able to adjust or remove the chain and the tightness of the chain and bar. And of course also it will have a screwdriver on the end. It's held right here. Now, when I first saw that, I was a little concerned that it might slip out accidentally when you're using the saw. But the placement's in a really good spot, and frankly, it takes a lot of pressure to pull that out. It's pretty small, but I'm assuming that it's going to do the job just fine. I haven't tried it yet. But that's where it fits. I actually like that. It's got a nice tight spring that holds it in place. Come in and get a close-up of this, Amari. So again, not a big item. This is the nice tight spring that holds it in place, and it clips in place really firmly. And again, it is pretty hard to get out. You got to really squeeze. I find that I can't, for instance, get it very easily by just putting my finger in the end and applying a lot of pressure. I have to actually squeeze it and press down on the spring to pull it out. I like that it fits so tight, though. That makes it much less likely that it will be lost. So while we have it out, contrary to what I just said a second ago, we're going to go ahead and put this little wrench to the test, and we're going to see how well it works at loosening our chain. Let's see if the wrench, come on in, Amari, for a close-up here. We're going to see if this little wrench actually will do the trick for loosening the bar. Turns out the bar wasn't very tight. Of course, it doesn't have to be, because these are the way they're designed is they do most of their work through compression friction. Now, I haven't done this part in a while, so for you folks that are really experienced at working on a chainsaw, don't make fun of me now. Essentially, of course, there's the inner workings. Here's the nub. For those of you who don't have a whole lot of experience, this little nub goes back and forth as you twist the screw, and that's what allows you to tighten and loosen or tighten the chain. For purposes of this video, what I really wanted to do was I wanted to find out how simple it was to get into this. You get a look at the innards. Obviously, we've used the saw just a few minutes ago. We came back to do this part of the video, and so now I'm just going to put it back on there. But it looks like it'll work in similar fashion as to the saws I've used in the past. And actually, it looks just really simple, made well enough to do the trick. And of course, the adjusting mechanism is here, where you would tighten or loosen the chain. This wrench is capable of doing the job. But of course, you don't need to make it super tight to have the proper chain tension. Okay, now for a demonstration of the effectiveness of this saw on this, what's left of our Christmas tree here. The base of this stump is about 4 inches thick. So actually the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and cut off a couple of these limbs. I find that the saw is actually quite powerful. Of course, there's a brand new blade on it. It's working just as good as a small gasoline-powered chainsaw. So we'll continue cutting now. My impressions of the saw are that it works fantastic, honestly. It doesn't seem to be drawing down much. This pine is still a little bit green, but it's not a small piece of wood. There's the base of it. There's the palm of my hand. So it's a decent piece of wood. Continuing on. Okay, so that's our basic use of the saw. What I'm not able to provide you right now is how long does the battery last, and how long will it cut, and how does it do on a really big piece of wood. But I have every confidence, frankly, from using this saw. I've owned still chainsaws in the past, more than one. And I'm actually pretty impressed with this. Naturally, some of the benefits of an electric saw are there's no gasoline, there's no oil, there's no choke, there's no cleaning the air filter, there's only adding bar oil and maintaining your chain. So if you're looking for a good alternative, and of course Ryobi does make a larger model of this, I'm really finding that I think I'm going to be really pleased with this saw. Now, if there is one thing on it already that I wish was a little heavier duty, it is this. You can see that the teeth, which you would use, of course, again talking to experienced chainsaw users, you use this to bite into the wood when you're going through a piece of wood to give yourself leverage. This is of course made out of plastic, and so I'm not sure how well it will hold up over time. But again, with this particular saw, I'm not necessarily planning to be doing a lot of super heavy duty woodwork with this thing. Just cutting trees and branches and cutting things up into firewood and maybe handling some fairly good sized logs. And I think that this is going to suit me just fine. If you would like for me to do a follow-up video for this, please say so in the comments. A follow-up video to sort of tell you how long the battery lasts, or after I put it through some heavier paces and have owned it for a little while, to give you a longer view on it. But I think it's going to be a fantastic little saw for what I need it to do. In terms of how this product reviews so far, I can honestly say I am very pleased with this little 14-inch saw. I considered getting the, I think it's a 16 or 18-inch. I went with this just because of the price point, and because I really thought that it probably had a high likelihood of doing what it is that I need it to do. So as I put my bar back on here, I want to tell you thank you for joining me, and enjoy that workout there. We'll see you in the next video.